Shabbat Shalom, family. We're doing our live today. Our portion of the lesson today is the book of Exodus. We're going to come out of the book of Exodus dealing with the family of Yisrael. All right, let's get started. Giving all honor and praise unto the Most High King, the creator of all creation. Asking him to guide my mind, my spirit, my body, my language, and my speech as I approach unto you, his people. May the Most High be praised forever and forever. From everlasting to everlasting, he is King, and there is no other. All right, let's roll, y'all. Young brother supposed to be coming here today with me today is on his way. He's a little late, but it's 1 o'clock, and it's very important that we are prompt as possible if we are able. And right now we're able, so we're prompt. May the Most High be pleased with our efforts in all that we do, say, and understand. And I pray that you gain understanding from this lesson today. This is really a very powerful lesson. You might want to go out and share some of your friends, ask some of your friends to come on and see if we all can participate in this. Invite some people on if you can. I don't like to reach out to too many folk. I want to explain something, this flag behind me. This flag is a very powerful statement. I had a conversation with one of my brothers. My brother said to me, well, Prince, why do you have the flag in the background, knowing our condition and that we are here in our captivity, and that can really be a problem for a lot of people with us wearing a flag to resemble a nation in captivity. It could be taken as a symbol of war or act of war. And my brother spoke with wisdom. I understood what it was that he was saying. He has great concerns and care for his people. He doesn't want us to pull in too much attention to ourselves unrighteously and unnecessarily. So what I've done in resemblance of who we are as a nation of people in captivity, I've pulled this side of the flag down to cover the flag just a little bit halfway so that it will not represent a nation in its totality as a free nation, because we're not a free nation. We are a nation in captivity, isolated. And I don't want this to be a sign of war because we're not prepared for any type of warfare. The house of Yisrael is not set up and established for warfare. We are captives. We are hostages. We are taken against our own will, but set free to a degree and refuse to leave the land of our captivity. We're in a place right now where we have no free will of our own. Shalom, Ra. Shabbat Shalom. We have no free will of our own. You know, we think that we're free to a degree. We believe we are. But any man in his right mind knows that we're not free. For example, if you chose to leave the country, could you leave this country without a passport? No, you couldn't. Can you drive a vehicle in a car without a driver's license? No, you can't. And partly those problems is because you're not free. It then got to a place where they charge you to cross a bridge. Don't pay that fee to cross that bridge and see what happens. We're not free. You know, and in this captivity, when a person, it's never ceased to amaze me how when the government has an enemy, they go out and sort their enemy and kill their enemy, destroy their enemy by any means necessary. But you, being an individual, if you have an enemy who sorts your life and you go kill him, the government will bring you up on charges and punish you for murder. But yet they are free and able to do these things. The reason why they are free and able and not you is because they have sovereignty and you don't. We don't have sovereignty here in this country. We are slaves. Until the day that we gain our sovereignty in righteousness, we will continue to be slaves. That's the young brother at the door, so give me a second to go open the door. You already got a sign.
Sorry.
That's cool, that's cool. Okay, please forgive me for that. I had to open the door, let the brother in. Now remember, family, you can ask questions, and that's always the best way to approach the Shabbat day when you come in on a live lesson, is you present your questions, and Creator willing, we'll be able to provide you with the answer. It's not a mandatory, but it's something that we do our best to do. My answer to the question was because of us not having our sovereignty as being a whole man, we can't go out and destroy our enemies, but yet the government can go and destroy theirs at leisure, at will. Just with the thought of someone coming up against the government, they can go out and destroy their enemy. But we don't have the ability or the right to do that as a slave, as a captive. You know, it's a whole lesson on that, and I understand the order of sovereignty. I understand the OCC and all those things, the UCC. I understand all those things, the Uniform Commercial Code. But this lesson for this Shabbat day is not about that. We're going to travel somewhere else with our Shabbat day, our Shabbat lesson. May the Most High be praised. All right, you have any questions for today? Did you bring any questions with you?
I was reading up on Moses, and I was wondering. I know he went to the mountain, and I know he was shown the land that was promised to Abraham. But I also know that the Lord didn't allow him to enter it, and I was wondering why he wouldn't let him enter the land.
Shalom, you say you was reading up on Moses. Restate your question about not entering into the land.
I was reading up on Moses, and I was reading when he went to the mountain, and the Most High allowed him to see the land that was promised to Abraham, but he told him that he wouldn't allow him to enter, and I was wondering why.
Where was you reading it
at? Deuteronomy.
We'll go there in Deuteronomy.
Okay.
Isha, I know that you are in the midst of a lot of people and you got a lot of things going on. You can share the page, put your phone down, and step off. It's cool. Do what you have to do, but I know you won't be in attendance too much today, and I don't hold that against you. It's cool. All right? Deuteronomy, what chapter?
I'm trying to think. I was reading through it.
The question on the floor is, why didn't the Most High allow Moses to enter in to the promised land? He actually explains it in the chapter. He actually explains to Moshe why he didn't allow him to enter in. You know, the Most High requires strict, you can look for your chapter. The Most High requires strict obedience from us, strict loyalty and honor. And it's our obligation to give him what it is that he requires because he's done so much. The Most High had entrusted in the hands of Moshe great power, great might. The Creator made Moshe a God on earth. Now I use God for the word, simple way of us understanding what a God means. The Creator made Moshe a God on earth. And Moshe had major responsibility because he had major blessings and major challenges given to him. So he was to remain loyal to the Most High at all times. He couldn't act like a mortal man or a normal man, just as you or me or anyone else who calls themselves by the name of the Almighty, Yisrael. Anyone else who calls themselves by that has to stand out from the crowd in our demeanor, in the way that we speak, the way we conduct ourselves, and how we act. You know, we have to know this. Moshe was held to that same standard. And what Moshe did was he lost control. And he allowed something to take place dealing with the children of Israel because they can be a haughty people. He allowed something to take place that caused him to lose control. And when he lost control, he disobeyed what the Creator told him to do, and he did something else his way. And that's not how, when the Most High raises you to greatness, he raises your level of understanding. You no longer can move in your own mind. You have to move according to the ways and the wills of the Almighty. And that's what Moshe failed to do at that particular time. Do you have the chapter?
Yes.
All right. You want to read that? Tell us where you are.
So I'm on Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 34.
Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 34. Read on.
And Moses went up to the plains of Moab, unto the mountain of Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land and Gilead, unto Dan, and unto Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim, and Messiah, and all the land of Judah, unto the utmost sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, unto Zor. The Lord said unto him, This is the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto you, unto thy seed. I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over. Thou shalt not go over this diet. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in the valley, in the land of Moab, against the Betor. But no man knoweth his sepulchre. Sepulchre
is a grave.
Sepulchre unto this day. And Moshe was 120 years old when he died. His eyes were not dim, nor his natural force abated. And the children of Israel wept for Moshe in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and the mourning of Moshe were ended. And Joshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands unto him. And the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Elohim commanded Moshe. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel unto like Moshe, whom the Elohim knew face to face, in all signs and in all wonders, which the Elohim...
Shabbat shalom, Def. Go ahead, keep reading.
Which Elohim sent him to do in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh, and to all the servants, and to all his land, and to all the mighty hand, and to all the great terror which Moshe showed in the sight of all Israel.
Okay. I think it might be in a chapter right before that. The Creator actually tells us in the book why Moshe did not go into the Promised Land. The reason why Moshe didn't make it to the Promised Land was because he disobeyed the Creator at the waters of Meribah. He was actually buried in Nebo. What happened was the Creator told him to speak to the rock, and the rock would issue out water. You know, if Moshe was to have done what the Father said, speak to the rock, it was to give the Creator glory. Because the power of a rock just spewing out water at the voice of a man could be nobody but the Creator. But what Moshe did was he lifted his hand and he struck the rock. And the rock did give out water, but he used his force and his energy, his power, his might by his hands, and he caused the water to come out. Which makes it takes away from the glory of the Most High.
Okay.
So this is the reason why Moshe didn't make it into the Promised Land. Thus the words of the Creator. Now, what happened was the people was murmuring, bickering. You know how people are? They upset at Moses. They got him angry. They got him frustrated. And he struck the rock. As opposed to speaking to the rock, command with his voice. like he did with everything else that he did. He spoke the words, the vibration opened up channels of energy, portals of energy, and caused the angels to obey. The spirit of things, of objects, and of people to obey his command. But he didn't do that. He struck the rock, and thereby causing the Most High to become disrespected. The Most High will not be disrespected by his creation.
Okay.
And that leads back to how we are, where we are today, in the situation we're in. All right? Any other questions? I pray that you understand that. You know, it's very important that we obey the voice of the Almighty and don't take matters into our own hands and do things according to our own ways and our own understandings. Learn to do what the directions and instructions the Creator gives. Okay?
Okay.
All right. If there's any questions in the room, you can type your questions down and we'll address your questions and your issues. What we're going to do is we're going to start our reading today in the book of Exodus. Exodus, the 18th chapter. Exodus chapter 18, 18 and 1. I believe today's date is somewhere like November the 9th, 2019. May the Most High be praised. You ready to read?
Yes, sir.
Try to keep your voice up a little loud so that the family and the audience can hear you, please. Read on, please.
We're reading from Exodus chapter 18, verse 1. When Jethro, the priest of Midian.
Hold 1 second, please. Carter, you can call me on FaceTime after Shabbat. Not right now. Because the only thing you can do is type in the room if you have a question. Can't call me on FaceTime because all my devices are all occupied so I can teach the lesson properly. Read on, please.
Exodus chapter 18, verse 1.
Now, read on, read on.
When Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moshe's father-in-law, heard all that the Elohim had done for Moshe and for Israel, his people, and the Elohim had brought Israel out of Egypt.
Now, Jethro, who was in the land of Midian, basically Midian is in Ethiopia. Jethro, who was in the land of Midian, heard all the way over there of the greatness of how the Most High brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt and from under the hand of the captivity of the Egyptians. See, at this time, Israel was becoming sovereign. Not like we are today. They were like we are today, which means we are slaves, but they actually became sovereign. They became a nation at this particular time. Read on, please, which means they have their rights to do as they choose and set up their own, establish their own government. Read on.
Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moshe's wife, after he had sent her back.
Moshe sent his wife back to her father's house so he can do the works of the Most High without being distracted. You understand?
Yeah.
He understood the importance of the task that was before him. He understood that importance. He could not be sidetracked by his wife for any reason. So he sent her back where she would be safe and taken care of, provided for a period of time at her father's house.
And her two sons, of which name of the one was Gershom, and he said, I have been an alien in a strange land. And the name of the other was Eliezer, for the Elohim of my father said, he was mine help, and he delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. And Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife unto Moshe into the wilderness.
Now Jethro, his father-in-law, brought his sons, his two sons, and his wife. Now you don't really hear too much about Moses' children afterwards. This is pretty much all you're going to hear about his children. Moshe, to be such a great man, why didn't his children take over after he left office? Why didn't they assume position after him? It's a question to ask. Now, Moshe sent his wife back with his two children because when you're working in the office of the Most High, your family has to come second.
Yeah.
Because your duty is to the Most High and His people. Your family could become a distraction, especially when you're dealing with some Israelite women. If they're not on page 100%, then that might be a problem for you because it takes your energy away. But the righteous Israelite women, and we have a lot of them, we have plenty of them, the righteous Israelite women will be there to support you and help you to move in the direction that you need. It could still be a distraction. Sometimes in order for a man to be able to think and get ideals and move like he must separate himself from his women. All right? And that's going to be even covered in this chapter. It's going to explain how when we had to purify ourselves, we couldn't come near our women for a certain amount of days, 3 days, so that we will be spiritually and ritually cleansed. Read on, please.
And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife unto Moses into the wilderness, where he encamped at the mount of the Elohim. And he said unto Moshe, I, thy father-in-law, Jethro, am come unto thee, and thy wife, and her 2 sons with her. And Moshe went out to meet his father-in-law.
I wanted to bring mention to the fact that Jethro, it says earlier in the chapter, he heard that what Most High had done for the children of Israel. He heard it from a distant land. See, the fame of the Most High was going forward now. Jethro heard of the glory of the Most High bringing out the children of Israel from captivity from a distant land. It shows you how it was getting around. Now imagine if all of a sudden all that glory was being given and attention was being paid to the Most High, which was changing people in the direction of serving Him, and all of a sudden they got a story that Moses did something now. They get the idea that any man can do it.
Correct.
So you got to understand how powerful and how great of disrespect it was for Moshe to hit that rock, to strike that rock and take glory. And then he says, me and my brother has done this. You see, as if him and his brother actually led the Most High's children out of captivity. He didn't give the Most High His praise. And that was a problem for the Most High. So that resolves the answer to your question. But the Most High was getting His glory, and people was hearing of this. This was before they struck the rock with His hand. People was hearing about this. So the Most High was getting exactly what He was meant to get. This is so powerful, and this lets you know that this is about us. Read on. Well, as this chapter ends, I'm going to let you know that this was about us. Remind yourself to think on that this is about us. When the mountain starts smoking and the earth starts shaking, then you'll know for sure who this message was for. Read on, please.
And Moshe went out to meet his father-in-law and did
Obeisance.
Obeisance.
Watch how Moshe, who is a man of the Creator, high-ranking official in the Most High's army, watch how he greets his father-in-law. See, not enough of us do this when our elders come in our midst. Moshe greeted his elder, an honorable elder, whose house he was in when the Most High spoke to him. He greeted him with a kiss, with a love and respect, just as I greet a lot of my elders in the same fashion, with a kiss on the cheek, a kiss on the neck. It's a love, it's an honorable thing. We today as Israel, we've gotten so far away from honor, love, loyalty, trust, and respect. We've gotten so far that these things sound foreign to us. They sound like something that shouldn't be done. Oh, I ain't kissing no man on the neck, on the cheek. I ain't never. Then you're not an honorable man. It's just that simple. Okay. You have no men that you have that kind of respect for. In the year 2019, Prince, I still have that type of respect for certain leaders in Israel, certain men. Okay? Read on, please.
And Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and did obeisance and kissed him.
Obeisance.
And kissed him. And they asked each other of their welfare, and they came into the tent.
Now, when Moshe's father-in-law came about into the city, this man was so great in Moshe's eyes, and this is the way that we should honor our elders when they come in our midst, that they had a feast. They celebrated this man's arrival. You know, our father-in-law come to the house, and what we do? I don't want to see him. It's boring. He shouldn't really be here, or he's going to come in and try to. No, we have to honor people. We have to show people how we live as a people. We have to bring back these things into the enrichment back into our culture. Because without these things, we are nothing. All we have is a circumcision. These are the unwritten honors that we are to pay unto another. See, this book was written as a book of remembrance. It's remembering or teaching us to remember the customs of our people. Okay. How we were to be in the presence of our elders. Not just our elders, but our family members. You understand? Read on, please.
And Moshe told his father-in-law all that the Elohim have done unto Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and all the travail that have come upon them by the way, and how the Elohim delivered them.
Now, Moshe told his father-in-law about all the great things that the Creator had delivered unto the house of Israel, what he has done for us. And this caused Jethro to do something. And watch what he does. Read on, please.
And Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness which the Elohim have done to Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hands of the Egyptians. And Jethro said, Blessed be the Elohim who has delivered you out of the hands of the Egyptians and out of the hand of Pharaoh, who has delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Elohim is greater than all gods.
Now he knows. See, he only thought, he wasn't sure, because everybody had a story about their creator, their power. But when he heard about what the Most High did, and then Moshe confirmed that all these things were true, he said, now I know that there is no power but the Creator.
Okay.
Your power, Moshe. Read on, please.
Now I know that the Elohim is the greater than all the gods.
He's greater than all deities. That's what he is. Read on, please.
For in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them.
The thing that they dealt proudly in, he was above them. Read on.
And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took and burnt offering and sacrifice for the Elohim.
Now look here, y'all, family. Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, made a burnt offering, a sacrifice to the Creator. Only our Levitical order could do that. But Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, did it. And Moshe and the rest of the family ate of it. Read on, watch and see.
And Aaron came, all the elders of Israel, to eat bread with Moshe, father-in-law, before the Elohim. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses sat to the judge the people, and the people stood by Moshe from the morning unto the evening. And when Moshe's father-in-law saw that he had did to the people, he said, What is this thing that thou doest to the people? Why sittest thou self alone, and all the people stand by thee from morning unto evening?
Now, hold up a second. Now, I need you to understand what's going on. Moshe was sitting in judgment, and the people were bringing their problems to Moshe. And this thing was taking all day for Moses to handle because the people were great. The number of the people were great. So Jethro, he saw this, and he uses his elderly wisdom. See, this is why we need leadership, elderly leadership. This is why we need guidance, elderly guidance. There's a reason why the Most High established for your elders to be in your midst. There was a reason why. Certain wisdom is only going to come by an elder, unless the Most High see fit for a younger person to bring it. But certain wisdom only comes by elderly people. And they should be honored for that. And we should always honor a hoary head in the way of righteousness. Now, Moshe been doing this thing for a while now, 3 months at least. At least 3 months. Jethro says, hey, no more should this be done this way. There's a better way for you to do this, because if you continue to take on all this burden, you're going to die. You're going to kill yourself. It's too much for one man to bear. Now, we have a lot of leadership here in America that run an organization, a prosperous, healthy organization, that their other chieftain men don't really have power and authority like the leadership does. You know, the leadership should stand singular. A monarchy should be in place, but he has to issue out certain things for the other brothers and sisters who are qualified, learned men to do. Jethro wasn't just saying, get men who can think and get it done. There was a certain type of characteristic that Jethro was looking for men to have, and he's going to give those instructions to Moshe. There's certain type of characteristics and traits that your leadership must possess. If not, your leadership will be wicked and evil. Let's see what that certain characteristic, that certain trait was that Jethro was looking for as he instructed Moshe when Moshe was to go out and search out leadership. I submit to you today, family, that if your leadership doesn't possess these types of qualities, then he shouldn't be in a position of leadership over you. Read on, let's see what those qualities are.
And Moshe said unto his
Tell us
father,
where you are.
Oh, I'm at Exodus chapter 18, verse 15. And Moshe said unto his father-in-law, because the people came unto me to inquire of the Elohim, when they had a matter, they come unto me, and I judge between one and another, and I do make them know the statutes of the Elohim and his laws. And Moshe's father-in-law said unto him, the thing that thou doest is not good.
It's not good, Moshe. You're doing too much. Read on.
Thou wilt surely wear away, both thou and his people that is with thee. For this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not be able to perform it thyself alone. Hearken unto my voice.
Sit down, young man, and pay attention to the words I'm speaking. That's what he's saying. Read on.
Hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, as the Elohim shall be with thee. But thou for the people,
be thou
for the people to Elohim ward, that thou mayest bring that causes unto Elohim.
Read on.
Okay. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws.
First, Moshe, this is what you have to do. You have to teach the people ordinances and laws. You have to teach all of the people, not just the people that come to you with a certain issue, but you have to make it known to the people. A government is being established. You understand? You have to have laws and ordinances to be in place in order for you to run a government.
Okay.
At this particular time, a government is being established. Read on.
And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and thou shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men.
So now he's going to pick out the government officials. Those government officials have to be of a certain quality. As I said earlier, if your leadership does not possess these types of qualities, then this man or this woman doesn't need to be in position of leadership. Read on.
Such as fear God.
First command.
Such as fear God.
He has to be a man of the Creator, a man that fears the Most High. He must. Now, fearing the Most High, as I explain to people, is not like trembling, like, oh, you're biting your fingernails and you're worried and you're scared. Fear of the Most High means that you are afraid to let the Most High down. You don't want to be a disappointment to the Most High. You want to please him in all of your works. And it hurts you to your heart if you don't please the Most High. This is what fear of the Most High is. Not be scared and tremble and shake. Although when he speaks to you, you may show that type of affection for him, that type of respect and honor for him. But that's not the type of fear that we're talking about here. When we're talking about fear, we're talking about in a way of reverencing. in a way of highly esteeming, highly respecting the Almighty. Read on, please.
Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear the Most High, men of truth, hating covetousness, and
sneakiness, deception. You understand? Backbiting and hidden agendas and all that type of stuff. They hate evil. These men fear the Creator and they hate evil. And Colin, I see that, and I'll let you know when we open back up. Read on, please.
And place such over them to be rulers of thousands and rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties and rulers of tens.
These are the type of men that you put as leadership in Israel. How do you know if your leadership fears the Creator? Because the things that they do that was wrong won't be evil. Some of the things may be wrong, but they won't be evil. They will be common mistakes made by mortal man. That's wrong. You know what I mean? But then when you have leadership that's just doing evil, you will know evil when you hear evil. And there's a difference. They put the Most High first in the matters of their lives, the things that they do. They have to put the Most High and his people first. Read on, please.
And let them judge the people at all seasons. And it shall be that every matter they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for thyself.
Now, it says every great matter they shall bring to Moshe, but every small matter they will judge for themselves. Read on.
And they shall bear the burden with thee, if thou shalt do this thing, and Elohim command thee so, then thou shalt be able to endure. And all this people shall go to their place in peace. So Moshe hearkened to the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he said. And Moshe chose able men out of all Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of 10. And they judged the people at all seasons. They heard causes they brought unto Moshe, but every small matter they judged themselves.
The hard causes
They brought to Moshe. And every small matter they judged themselves. And Moshe let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way unto his own land.
Now, why is it that the Most High couldn't just do that himself? Why is it that the Most High couldn't just pop that understanding in Moshe himself? See, the Most High had a reason for doing what he did. He wanted Moshe's father-in-law to bring his family to Moshe so that they can see. They haven't seen him in a long time. He wanted them to see him, but yet he didn't want that trip to be in vain. So he allowed him to use his wisdom and educate Moshe in a decision that was very profitable for the nation. He set a precedence for us to follow even till today. Now you have to think about this for a second. Moshe, being in the stead of the Almighty, being a God on earth to man, to the children of Israel and other nations, why did he have to listen to his father-in-law, who was immoral?
He was his elder.
Yeah, he didn't have to pay attention to him, though. He didn't have to do what he said.
No, he didn't.
He didn't have to take the advice. Like a lot of men today, you approach them when they're wrong. You approach them and their position prohibits them from being able to hear you because to them, you're a lowly person. You're a nobody. Why do I have to listen to you? Who are you? If you don't hold a title of nobility, or if you ain't got a congregation the size of Broad Street, and almost every city got Broad Street, so I mentioned it, or a Coliseum, then they feel like, why do we have to listen to you? But the Most High places wisdom in whom he chooses.
Okay.
You understand? And at this particular time, he chose Yisrael, who was a leader of his people, to bring wisdom to Moshe. And Moshe took heed to it because of his humility. He considered all that Yisrael said, and he actually proceeded to do what Yisrael said. He set up leaders and judges within the midst of his people to judge his people's causes. Read on, please.